Hi, my name is Sho and I'm born and resident here in Japan. And I've been doing the tour guide for about 4 years now. And I'm meeting around 2,000 guests from all over. So during these tours I've got to ask a lot of questions by customers. Today I'm going to share with you top 10 things that you should definitely know before you come into Japan. Okay, so let's get started. First, let's talk about cash in Japan. So probably coming from a lot of modern countries, so you think that you can use credit card because you think Japan is a modern country itself, but actually, many places here in Japan still do not accept credit card. Well, the cashless payment has been widely used since COVID. So now in Japan, you can generally use credit card, especially in the big city, tourist spot and commercial areas and many spots and restaurants. But be aware that some places, only specific cards may be accepted. I use a Visa and Visa works in most places. However, in a small shop, in local bars and street food vendors and many restaurants that offer set meal at lunchtime, credit cards are not always accepted. You should also be careful if you are planning to travel outside of the city. Be prepared to bring enough cash because cash is more common in those areas. Of course, I know you don't want to carry around the cash, but reality in Japan is that still many people do. So personally, I always have around 10,000 yen in my wallet, means $80. As a local tip, make sure you are carrying some cash, and having a purge for coins can be super handy because you can use coins at vending machines, and when you visit a shrine and temple, you can use for good fortune. To minimize the need for cash, you can also get the Suica or Plasma card. You can load it up to 20,000 yen in cash. So mainly it's used for train stations, so you don't need to buy a ticket each time when you get on the train. But you can also use it at convenience store, many vending machines and taxi and some restaurants and even retail stores accept it now. Also, if you need to withdraw cash in Japan, I recommend using Japan Post Office Bank and a convenience store like 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and Lawson. Convenience store is 24/7, so you can withdraw cash anytime you want. When you need to exchange foreign money, the big city have a lot of places, but be careful because it's hard to find options in the countryside. So next is eating and drinking while walking. In Japan, eating and drinking while walking is not very common. When I eat or drink outside, I usually stop and find a park to sit on the bench. The reason is that in Japanese culture, public etiquette is highly valued. So eating and drinking while walking is considered bothersome to others in Japan. And I also refrain from eating and drinking while walking and contribute to keeping the public spaces super clean. So that's why it's not common here in Japan. However, there are some exceptions. Eating and drinking while walking is often allowed in places like the food street and market and festivals. In such places, you should know 3 things. The first one is consider others by selecting less busy spaces. And the second one is following the rule of each individual shops. The last one is make sure you throw your trash in assigned bins. Trash cans. So usually you can find beans in front of the shop in those areas, but you never throw it on the street, okay? One of the famous market is the Tsukiji Fish Market. It's famous for its delicious seafood and it's so fresh. But it can get extremely crowded. While it used to be possible to eat and working, but due to the large number of people, now it's kinda impossible to eat and drink while walking, I guess. So some shops have a specific rule against stopping in front of the stop to eat. For example, at this shop, there are 2 ways to eat. The first one is a standing style, means eat outside, and the other one is a sitting style, means eat inside. So if you want to eat outside, you just need order first and receive the number ticket and wait nearby to be called. If you prefer to eat inside, some places have no waiting system by putting your name on the waiting list, so you can explore other nearby shops while you wait. But be cautious though, if you miss your name being called, your reservation will be cancelled. But there are some shops where you can just buy it and eat. I went there after lunchtime and it was not very crowded. Well, but some shops were closing, but many places offering the discount. So next I'll talk about is drinking in Japan. The drinking age here is 20 years old, so you can get at any convenience store. You can go to any convenience stores and they will sell you alcohol and not ask you how old you are if you just look over 20 years old. But when you buy alcohol at a convenience store, you just need to press the age verification button. Easy. If you look too young, they might ask you ID. But usually, just hit a button is all you need to do make a purchase. However, at the bar, they have a bit strict age verification. Even if you're like over 20 years old, they might ask you ID, and if you don't have any ID, they won't let you in. So it's a good idea to carry something that shows your age just in case. So now let's talk about the onsen. So Japanese onsen, aka hot spring, are one of the coolest experiences you can have in Japan. But unfortunately, many Japanese onsen prohibit people with tattoo from entering the facilities. Well, because tattoo have long been associated with Yakuza members and creating a traditional image. So Yakuza is Japanese mafia. Nowadays, tattoo are getting more casual, but some people still view tattoo negatively or linked into unsocial behavior. So that's why in public spaces like in hot springs, they wanted to avoid discomfort for the other customers. But for those of you that have tattoos, don't worry. As I mentioned, tattoos are becoming more accepted in Japan recently. So you can search tattoo-friendly onsen on Google. So you can find some spot not only in Tokyo, but the other area that are cool with tattoo. You can also make a reservation for private onsen. Some good ryokan or hotel offer onsen facility directly in your room, which is super nice. Now let's talk about the internet environment. So in Japan, as you know, many people don't speak English, and sometimes many are only in Japanese. So Google Translate is the must. Also, the road can be super complex, and navigating train transfers can be challenging without doing some research. The internet is the most important to travel Japan, I guess. Of course, Wi-Fi is available everywhere in Japan, at the train station, in the city, and at cafes, restaurant. However, sometimes you need to register and it can be quite slow. So I highly recommend either Wi-Fi or SIM card. Even if you forget by one, it's okay, you can find them everywhere at the electrical stores in the big cities, and it's very easy to activate. So for pocket Wi-Fi, it's convenient to rent one at airport and then return it when you fly back. If you ever forgot your pocket Wi-Fi at a hotel or somewhere, look for the Starbucks. Their Wi-Fi is easy connect and super fast. And I realize most of the staff can speak English at a Starbucks. Compared to the other cafes though. But yeah, do not hesitate to ask if you have any trouble or issues. Next one is smoking. In Japan, smoking on the street and vaping is illegal. If you want to smoke, you need to go to designated smoking area or visit cafe or izakaya where smoking is allowed. It sounds a bit weird to you, but still the smoking indoor is still allowed in many places in Japan, especially in izakaya, Japanese pub. Some have smoking and no smoking sections, but there are also places where smoking is permitted throughout. Most places have sign on the door indicating whether smoking is allowed or not. So be sure to check if you don't like smoking. So finding smoking area can be a bit inconvenient for smokers, but nowadays there's apps available to help locate smoking areas, so use that one. The smoking area in a major city are often small and can be quite smoky. So depending on the location, some areas a bit sketchy, I guess. So a cafe or smoking lounge recommended. When entering the lounge, remember that ID is required, so do not forget bring the passport or ID. So electrical cigarettes are also popular in Japan, and it can be purchased at a lounge or convenience store if you're interested. Next, let's talk about the trains. So before boarding a train, what you need is Suica and Pasmo cards. So these cards are not only for trains, but also for use at convenience stores and vending machines and restaurants. So when you get on the train, just tap the card. That's it. So if you want to charge it, you can do the ticket machine or counters. So if you want to get card, you need to press both at the airport or major stations. However, nowadays you can download Suica and Pasmo apps and charge them anywhere and anytime, so making it more convenient. So however, some credit card issued abroad might be rejected if you activate it overseas. So it's a good idea to try using an app in Japan first, and if it works, it's great, but if not, you can purchase a card. So as everyone knows, Japan has rush hour when a train gets extremely crowded. In the morning from around 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. 8 a.m. to maybe 9:30 a.m. and in the evening from about 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It depends on the location. and big cities can get quite crowded. During rush hours, there are a few things you should know. The first one is there are women-only train cars. These are designated cars in the areas designed to ensure the safety of women and prevent trouble during the crowded time. To find those cars and check out for the sign on the platform and near the doors. In this case, these cars are in operation from the first train until like 9:30 a.m. on weekdays. Exception including individuals with a disability and boys in elementary school or younger. Secondly, during the crowded times, pay attention to your position on your backpack and your hands. Wearing the backpack on your front can help like secure your space without accidentally bumping into other passengers. And also hold on to the handrail or keep your hand on your backpack like this during the crowded time to avoid unintentional contact with others. These two practices help to prevent any accidental touching and reducing the risk of any trouble. So now let's talk about tipping. So firstly, you might have heard tipping in Japan is considered rude, but it's not rude. Well, in Japan there was tipping culture in the past, but it didn't become norm. So you don't have to. You don't have to leave the tip. But talking about like otoshi, which is different from the tipping, but a common question from customers. So let me explain a bit. So otoshi is small appetizers, which is served right after you sit it in izakaya, Japanese pub. It's included in kabature. So otoshi is considered a form of hospitality in Japan to show their appreciation to the customers for paying the kabature. They give you appetizer to tide you over until your order comes. Otoshi is around 500 yen, and of course, there are izakayas that don't have any otoshi. So one place without otoshi that I'd like to introduce is Torikizoku. Here, everything is 360 yen. Like $3 each. So you can easily order because they're using touch panel so you don't speak Japanese. Plus, of course, no charge. Alright, so next one is accommodation in Japan. So you will find a range of options from regular hotel, then a traditional ryokan, or something unique like capsule hotel. So ryokan is a traditional Japanese accommodation offering an authentic experience with tatami mat rooms and stone beds. And capsule hotel is a compact accommodation where guests stay in small parts or capsules. It's a space efficient and cost-effective options and providing cozy and unique experiences. For convenient booking, personally I often use Agoda. It's known for offering a competitive price and often features special deals and promotions. However, the quick note of caution. When browsing through booking sites, you might come across option labeled adult only. These are usually love hotels. So love hotel and typically have an age restriction, and generally guests must be 18 years old or older to stay. Some hotels set the age limited at 20 years old, so you need to check. These are designed for short stays, just a few hours or even entire nights. They can be more budget friendly than regular hotels, especially on certain days. Some even comes with the unique features like karaoke in the room, so you can bring your own drinks and snack and get an entry in the room. So whether it's a traditional ryokan, a regular hotel, then a capsule hotel, or love hotel, Japan offers a variety of accommodation to suit every taste and budget. So enjoy stay and unique experiences. The last one, let me share some super essential Japanese phrases, and these are commonly asked by customers. So first one is ありがとうございます. This means thank you very much. Some might know arigato, but this means thanks. You can use it arigato, it's okay, but if you want to be more polite, you better to use ありがとうございます. Next one is すいません. This phrase has two meanings. It can be used to call waiters or when apologizing. You can say すいません when getting the waiter's attention. Of course, using a service bell if available is a good option, but yeah. And then another situation where you can use すいません is when you accidentally bump into someone or make a mistake. すいません. So おすすめは何ですか? That means what is your recommendation? It's handy when you're asking for recommendations, especially in the restaurants. Okay, so next one is お会計. This term is useful when you're asking the bill. So you can also use gestures like this. This means check as well. So last one is ikura desu ka? Means how much is it? This is useful when you're checking the price or something, just as you know. So if there are more Japanese phrases you'd like to know, just feel free to ask in the comments. Oh yeah, by the way, like English is mandatory education here in Japan in school. So if you speak simple word and easy word and speak super slowly, maybe we can understand. Yeah, speak slowly. Alright, so that's my top 10 things you should know before you travel to Japan. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, and if you want to see more about Japan, please subscribe to the channel. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye. I work for a company called MagicalTrip that provides a guided tour of different areas in Japan with local person who lives there. If you go to our website, you can look through all the tours we offer. You can also learn about the guide before you go on the tour. So hit us if you are looking for some guided tour in Japan. I would love to take you guys around Japan.